Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar this morning. Webinar for CEN Technical Committees and CEN CENELEC Joint Technical Committees with a CEN lead that will talk you through the new delegated decisions. My name is Elsa, moderating the webinar in the background. During the presentations, you'll all be muted, so you cannot speak out loud. I think it's on the next slide, the information that I would like to share with you. So you're all muted, not able to speak out loud, but you can use the Q&A panel to submit your questions that you should see in your Zoom interface. Should you be on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, or Instagram, you can use the hashtag training for standards to talk about the topic. I kindly remind you that the session has been recorded, so we will share with you the presentation and the recording later on. So without further ado, I think I can give right away the floor to my colleague Alessia, who will guide you to these new delegated decisions. Thank you, Alessia. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Els, and good morning, everyone. My name is indeed Alessia Gaetani. I am account manager in the technical management team at CEN CENELEC, and today I will present you indeed the new delegated decisions to CEN TCs and JTCs with CEN lead. And here in this slide, indeed, you have the agenda for today. You already see that the focus will be mostly on the new delegated decisions. So I will guide you through the background, the key decisions themselves, the applicability of these decisions, the impact that they will have on TC secretaries, and the new formatted decisions that are available in CEN-BOSS and how they have to be handled once the vote has closed. We will also touch upon the change of approval criteria for 3 decisions type. And again, I will give you a bit of background to them and the PT decisions. And then we will move to part 3 of this presentation that will be on my colleague Tamara Lee, that is a live demo of the committee internal fund. So without further ado, let's start with the new delegated decisions. Again, to CEN Technical Committees and CEN CENELEC JTCs with CEN lead. These decisions were taken in the bigger framework of the technical board wanting to increase the responsibility from the technical boards to the technical bodies. So the idea to delegate more decisions that are for the time being under the technical board in order to empower them and increase the responsibility. At the same time, the goal is to reduce the administrative burden that is on all the stakeholders involved in these decisions, being the technical committees, the technical boards, and CCMC, because of course, preparing, let's say, having decisions under the BT requires more steps for their approval. And this will in turn also optimize the standard development timeframe, because you will have at least 4 weeks less to get your decisions approved. And then, of course, as you surely know, in CEN, there is already a number of decisions that is delegated to technical committees. This is a trend that has been going on since many, many years in CEN, and that will continue. So the intention of the technical board is to keep delegating whenever possible the decisions to the technical committees. Of course, this will proceed in steps. It's not something that can be done all at once. And there is a prioritization exercise that the PT is doing in order to keep delegating decisions. So focusing on the, let's say, the decisions of the PTs, these exercise of identifying new possible delegated decisions started already in 2024, where the PT agreed to delegate selected decisions to CEN and CENELEC JTCs. So at that time, and I will get back to this later, also CENELEC was included. And at the same time, CCMC was mandated to prepare an implementation plan. Let's say the final decision was taken in 2025 for the delegation of the 3 decisions that you see in orange here. So withdrawal of hENs, TSs, and TRs, removal of link to legislation for candidate harmonized standards, and request for second formal vote on candidate harmonized standards. The implementation plan foresee 2 steps. So it's, let's say, a 2-step approach. Let's say, takes into consideration the IT development that are needed in this context. So the first step, which we are in at the moment, is a first, let's say, delegating without the automation via CIB. Whereas the second step, that would be shortly reassessed by the CEN Technical Board, is a full automation of these 3 decisions through CIB and through working area. So this means, as we will see later, that in a second step, all of these decisions would be available through working area, which is not the case for the time being. The application was set to the 1st of October, but subject to IT readiness, and the developments took a bit longer than expected, and here we are in February. And actually, as of tomorrow, this decision will apply. So as of tomorrow, you TC secretaries will have the tools available, as we will see later, ready to be used, but there is something you should pay attention to. That is to say that the decision applies as of 4th of February. So all new decisions will be delegated to CEN TCs and CEN-CENELEC JTCs with CEN lead. And as of 4th of February, the consultation will happen through CEN CIB, as it is already the case, but there will be no BT consultation, as it used to be the case. Whereas all TC consultations that have been launched until today, so actually before today, the 3rd of February, shall be followed by BT consultation. So they shall follow the path that was initially foreseen for that. In the yellow post-it, a note, because I'm sure that there are people who are wondering that, and it's about CENELEC, because the original decision was taken by the 2 technical boards, and it was applicable to CEN and CENELEC. For CENELEC, the IT changes are still under discussion at CENELEC BT, so for the time being, these new delegated decisions do not apply to CENELEC, but in the future, this would be the case as well for CENELEC TCs. So let's go through the impacts of these decisions on the TC secretaries. Actually, the impact is quite moderated. It's very little, because you will keep using the same tools that you already know, being the CIB, the Committee Internal Ballot, where 3 new templates have been created specifically for these new delegated decisions, and Tamara will guide you to the CIB in a few slides. Then new formatted decisions have been created and are available on CEN-BOSS, and you will exchange with data service for the implementation of these decisions in the database through email. As for the formatted decisions, you will find them in the usual place on CEN-BOSS. So under formatted decisions delegated to a technical committee, and 2.2 related to technical work, as the screenshot shows. So you will use these templates to circulate the TC decision once the CIB is closed. And also, this decision, formatted decision, will have to be shared to CCNC data service once the decision has been approved through committee internal ballot. A couple of notes here. As you probably are wondering, the withdrawal of deliverable is a type of decision that is already available in working area. However, for the time being, but until further notice in the near future, the withdrawal of deliverables as delegated to TCs will not be available on working area. So there is some development that are still undergoing for that. And you are kindly requested to use emails to communicate to data service your decisions, attaching your decisions. For removal of link to legislation and second formal vote request on harmonized standards, again, use email to communicate. The, let's say, expansion of working area for these decisions is part of the second step that I have mentioned at the beginning of this presentation through the BT decision. So for these two types of decision, you will have to wait a bit more to have them in the working area. Moving on to the change of approval criteria, we are looking at 3 decision types. The background in a way is similar to what we have seen for the delegated decisions. The idea here for the technical board was to simplify the task of the technical board secretaries by clarifying the approval criteria that in certain instances seem to be not very harmonized or not very coherent one with another, and also to increase the consistency and the harmonization in the decision-making across CEN and CENELEC. So bringing the most possible consistency between the two organizations, especially keeping in mind JTCs that might have to use different approval criteria based on the organization that is leading. So focusing on the voting criteria that are applicable through this BT decision, which is BT decision CO23/2025 that was taken indeed last year. So BT decided to align the approval criteria across CEN TCs, CENELEC TCs, and CEN and CENELEC JTCs for these 3 these decision types: withdrawal of deliverables, removal of link to legislation, and amendments and revisions not modifying the scope. In the table on the right, you see in green the voting criteria that applies. So in CEN, you will probably notice that the difference is in the withdrawal of mandated deliverable that will change from simple majority and no double counting to weighted vote and double counting. And for non-mandated deliverable, will change from simple majority to weighted vote. The rationale behind this voting criteria is that the voting criteria that will apply to the withdrawal is the same that is applicable to the approval of this deliverable. So the BT wanted to bring consistency through the voting criteria for the approval of deliverable and for the withdrawal. For CEN, at the same time, there is also another change, which probably is the one that will strike you the most, you will notice the most, which is the weighted vote that applies to the activation of preliminary work items and the approval of new work items for amendments to hENs not modifying the scope and revisions to hENs or TSs not modifying the scope. So with this new criteria, regardless of whether there is a change of scope, the applicable criterion will always be weighted. I want to draw your attention to the fact that these voting criteria are embedded in the CIB and to the related voting results. So this means that in reality, there is nothing for you to do differently than what you used to do. The voting criteria, the voting results that you will obtain once the CIB closes are those that reflect the relevant voting criteria. All right, so it is time to pass the floor to Tamara for a live demo on the new templates on CIB. Tamara, the floor is yours.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Mhm. So you should be able to see my screen. If you don't, please scream.
We do see it.
Wonderful. And there we go. Okay. So first thing, currently in the CIB, you have 6 templates, but actually 5 templates which are predefined. And then the ad hoc committee internal ballot, which is the one where you can create your own questions and decide on what possible answers you want. Starting from tomorrow, and I would say towards the end of the day, oh, wait. I can't, sorry, I need to, oops. Starting from tomorrow, now I'm in the test environment, you will see an addition of 3 templates. So we have the second formal vote request on harmonized standards, which is at the top. We have the removal of links to delegation, and we have the withdrawal of deliverables. It's all in alphabetical order. And so I'm now going to create a template for each of the 3 delegated decisions and also show you the results. So for the 3 new templates, we've applied the calculation defined in the amendment to the regulation 1025. And so this means that outcome will follow the same rules. The handling of the pending state will be the same, and the ballot results will have the same appearance. Okay, so I will start by creating a second formal vote request on harmonized standards. So here you are guided by the wizard. I just have a special committee on which I like to do tests. There we go. Okay, and so here you have the page that you're already accustomed to. I will add a little title. And you see here in the method, it's automatically implemented that it's simple majority. Then you have the option to add a standardization request. So let's, for the first example, do that. For example, then you have the opening date and closing date. You go to next. Here we have the following question. We agree to request the launch of a second formal vote on these candidate harmonized standards. And the possible answers are yes, no. If it's no, then the user is required to add comments, and abstention or no interest. And then you create your ballot, your CIB ballot. And you have it here, okay, with all the metadata. Now, I would like to show you what the results will look like. Sorry, I can't see the top of my screen with this Zoom. Here we go. Is this? Yes, this is where I want to be. So, I'm going to show you the results of a mandated. So at the moment, this ballot, so this is a CIB that I created for the testing purpose. So, and we added some votes to make it look more realistic. It's currently open, but I just want to show you. Okay, so we see here we have pending results. So this means that it will require a BT decision. So if I go into the pending result, I will see why. We have here disapprove. So approve is lower than 50%, and non-blue type members is above 50%. So this means we have disapprove, approve, and if we look at the logic, so here we are for simple majority, it's a mandate. We have disapprove and approve, so the result should be pending. Okay, and then it's the responsibility of the ballot owner, in this case, the TC secretary or your staff, to input the final result. So this is what it looks like. You go at the bottom. When you have a decision, you can select between approved by BT decision or disapproved by BT decision. You can add an explanation, and then you simply close the ballot. Okay? So this was for the first one. Now for the second one, good. I will go back here. I'm going to do an example with the removal of links to legislation. So I will use my uh, 601 committee. Here again, we have the same, you need to follow the wizard and fill in what is needed. Here you see the method of calculation is already implemented, so it's weighted majority. Here you can add if it's a mandated or not. Let's say not for this one. You go to next. Here the question is, we agree to remove the link to legislation from these work items, and the possible answers are yes, no, abstention, or no interest. For no, of course, you have to upload documents, a comment, and then you create. And you have your ballot. Okay, if I look at the results, I need to go back here. No mandate. So here we've pre-prepared a template. So we have a weighted majority, not mandate. And here we go to the results. And we see that the weighted percentage is lower, so it's disapprove. The number of blue type members is higher, so it's approved. And so if we look at the, here we're at weighted vote, not mandated, we have disapprove and approved. So here, so it should be approved by blue type members. And oh, well, so I'm weighted. Okay. I'll have to look into this, but normally it should be approved by blue type members. Okay, sorry about that. Then I'll go back to my last template here, which is the withdrawal of deliverables. So I'll do exactly the same. Here I will put the reference. We can select between weighted majority, simple majority, but actually we've added this sentence to say that only use simple majority for TRs. Then you have the option to add the mandate, and then you simply go to next. And here the question is, we agree that these deliverables shall be withdrawn. Possible answers, we have yes, no with comments, and abstention, no interest. You can also add comments to the yes and the abstention if you feel like it. And then you simply create your ballot. And here we go. And then if I show you a result, hopefully I'll be a little bit more successful. There we go. Not mandate. We go to the results. We have lower than the requirement, so disapproval, and then approval for the blue type members, and then we have disapproved by national members. Then regarding the what's the name? The change of approval criteria for 3 decisions, what we've done is we adapt the duration of CEN ballots to 8 weeks instead of 2 months. And for the amendment and revisions to hENs and TS, not modifying the scope, we changed the approval policy from simple majority to weighted vote. So I don't think maybe I could just show you sorry, I'll go back here. It's maybe not so relevant to do the whole cycle, but I'll just show you activation of preliminary work item. Here we go. Here you have, so this is the only thing that changed. It's weighted majority. You have the instruction, use simple majority for TR only. And the dates have been modified to 8 weeks. The duration has been modified to 8 weeks. So that's it on my end. I'll hand it over to you, Alessia.
Yes, thank you very much, Tamara. I will just present another slide and then we will open the floor for Q&A. Just give me a second to share again my screen. Yes, the last update that I wanted to show you is about a working area in relation to the activation of preliminary work items and approval of new work items. So as I mentioned before, the approval criteria have slightly changed with regard to amendments and revisions not modifying the scope. So there is no difference between amendments and revision not modifying the scope and modifying the scope. In both cases, it would be weighted vote. So the box 2 that you see in section 1 in working area will only reflect if the new work item is an amendment or a revision. The two options, change of scope or not change of scope, have been removed because, again, they are no longer relevant. And also the section 25, which is triggered by the selection on section 2, will have only the weighted vote possibility, whereas the simple majority has been grayed out and is no longer available. All right, so these are the changes to the tools that have been introduced. We have already answered some questions in the Q&A box, but of course, the floor is open for further questions. So, and okay, Lorraine already answered the question. I was pointing at, yes. So Ralph is asking, for title changes during the elaboration of a deliverable work item, we will still need a TC decision, or will this change when implementing OST? So in principle, the change of title, as well as the scope or other elements that are included in the new work item proposal when approved, are subject to a TC decision. So if the title is changing, you still need a TC decision. This is the current situation. It might change in the future, but this is subject to further deliberations from the technical board. So this we have answered. Then we have a question from Suzanne. I'm not sure if I understand it, and maybe Tamara can also help me, because this came in while the demo was going on, and it's, why do we have to state that the BT decision? I thought this now is a TC decision. So to clarify that indeed all the decisions that we have shown are delegated to TC, so there is no BT decision playing a role anymore here. A question from Christian about mentioning of CEN lead in conjunction with CIB to remove legislative reference. From my point of view, this is always a CEN decision, also in case of ISO lead. So, of course, here we are referring to homegrown standards, but also to standards that might be developed in parallel, for which CEN, of course, is in charge of the European element, including the Annex Z. So in any case, at European level, it's CEN that has the lead regarding the legislative elements in the relation to the standardization request. So I'm not sure if, Christian, I've answered your question, but indeed, also in case it's parallel work and it's ISO lead, the decision to remove link to legislation would be on CEN. All right, Christian, thanks for confirming that this was your understanding. Then Giuseppe is asking activation of preliminary work items and approval of new work items. Maybe I've missed something. Was it not already introduced in 2025? So the delegation, so this type of decisions are delegated to technical committees since quite some years. I don't have the year in mind, I'm sorry, but it's been quite a lot. The change of approval criteria in case of change of scope, which is no simple majority anymore, but it's weighted vote, was decided by BT in 2025, but due to the IT changes needed that were available only now, they will apply as of now.
Okay, no more questions in the Q&A panel for the moment. We have planned to take up to 11 o'clock to have this webinar, right? So I would like maybe first to launch the feedback poll, and then attendees still have the possibility to type in questions if they should still have questions. If not, I kindly invite you to answer the feedback poll. It's 3 short questions asking your feedback for this webinar, and then we use the answers to improve our webinars in the future. So thanks a lot. I can also maybe confirm, as I did already in the beginning, that the webinar has been recorded. So we share the recording and the presentation with you later on. So you can share it with colleagues if they should be interested in this topic as well.
All right. So a couple of closing remarks from my side. First of all, that these changes that have been introduced by the technical board are an important step towards more efficient, consistent, and empowered decision-making within our technical committees. So we hope that this will make your life easier, that this will allow you to better plan your standard development while reducing the time for approval of this type of decisions. And something very important is that you will continue using the tools you are already familiar with, so there are no changes in this sense. Also, maybe you will have to, let's say, if you allow me the term, play a bit with CIB and see what's available, the new templates available, and and see how they are structured. I also invite you to have a look at the formatted decisions that will be made available as of tomorrow or on CEN Boss. And of course, in case of any question, doubt on the decisions, on the tools, don't hesitate to reach out to your technical PM in charge of your TC that will be ready to answer your questions. And that was it from my side, and thank you all for attending this webinar today, and have a good day.
Thank you, Alessia. Thank you, Tamara, from your side as well. See you soon again for the next webinar. Bye-bye.